So today we're going to be doing something very different, something that I've never done before and I would like to do in the future, but I want to see if you guys like it. So if you could do me a huge favor, if you like this type of stuff, let me know. I was inspired to do this by a YouTube channel that before about a month ago, I didn't even know existed, which was Adam Savage for Tested or Untested. And he has this YouTube channel. I'll link it down below. He did a build of this, and for some reason, I wanted it bad. And I was gonna buy it even if I didn't make a video about it. I figured I'd see if you guys wanted to see it, and about 80-ish% of you said that you did want to see it on a community poll. So that's what we're gonna be building today. I hope you'll allow me to just be a gigantic nerd today, because that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing. So I also was kind of thinking of a way to do this, so I'm just gonna do this the way that feels most comfortable to me, and then I'll make adjustments in future episodes if there are any, if you guys like it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I've got this all pulled apart. I'm noticing one thing that is a little concerning to me, and I'm gonna check online right now to see if this is a problem. Which is there are no instructions. So most of the stuff like this, I think is fairly self-explanatory in how it screws in, but there's a lot of these small like trigger assembly pieces that I think are going to be quite interesting to build, and that may end up being the entertainment for this video, is me failing over and over again to figure out how this all goes together. So you have the core of the replica here, which is seemingly one solid piece of aluminum. I've noticed that all these parts are dirty. They didn't wash them at all. But I guess at the end of this is supposed to be painted, but there are a couple scuff marks on here that I guess go towards that kind of weathered look, but are maybe not the original owner's choice to have. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at some reference photos to make sure that I'm building this properly. It seems like it's built into kind of three main areas. One is going to be the trigger assembly, which is going to be right in this section. The other one is going to be the barrel, which is going to come right through here. And then the third part is, I'm not sure if it's some sort of safety or what exactly goes right here. Maybe it's just a cover of some kind for a button or something like that. Okay, so I believe that this is going to go in just like that, right there. And then this piece curves around there, just like this. And there's a spring, I think a big spring, embedded right in between these two. Okay, I also decided to add my phone just so that you can see a little bit more as to what's going on. I think I did this in the wrong orientation, so let's fix this really quick. So there's a spring right here. A big one that needs to be depressed fairly deep down, but I think I want to stick this through here first and get this placed properly. All right, after a little bit of finessing, I think I got it pretty much correctly in there. Okay, now this is going to be a little more interesting because this needs to go against this right in this little area. But there's a spring that has to go inside of it, this little tiny spring right here. Hopefully you can see that against that. And then I believe this has to go on either side of this little tiny piece right here. Okay, so this is a little bit disappointing. So this is not cut down enough for this to be a perfect fit inside this these two slots right here, which means that I either need to splay these out or grind this down a little bit. And I think because I don't want this to be too wide in this mechanism if it's tight when you close it, I think I'm going to grind this down just a tiny bit. I will do that and I will be right back. Okay, so with a little bit of sanding and a little bit of hammering, we've got this basically in there, and that is about a 10-minute detour from the plan. Okay, I actually had to sand a little bit more because it was binding a little bit, and so now it's a pretty loose and pretty comfortable fit. So that's perfect, like exactly what we want. And then we'll go ahead and get this pin through here and this spring loaded in there. And then the safety mechanism is kind of interesting. So it uses these two bars, it looks like, kind of bent into position for this. So it looks like these go like this. And then press everything down. I think this mechanism is just about ready. All right, I'm gonna load this up really quick and screw this down and see if I can figure out if everything is working. Just as like a quick test before we move on. Boom, there you go, look at that. Cool, seems like everything's sturdy too. Okay, so that came loose, but that won't come loose when the top is on, so that's not a problem. I think I actually want to flip so these have a very slight curve to them, and I think I want to flip them the other way, because right now they're bent this way. I think I want to bend them the other way to give a little bit more resistance, and hopefully this thing doesn't fall apart when I screw this here. Yeah, there's definitely some added tension when it's bent. I think I want to force this in here like that. There we go. Let's put this back on real quick before springs and stuff go flying. And then I think I'm going to cover this side with this so that that doesn't pop out again. And it's actually starting to look like a regular old gun here. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, that one's even more snappy. Okay, that was a good decision. All right, so let's leave that out for now. Okay. So the trigger assembly is done. I do have a unaccounted for piece that I can't see in the photos where it goes, and I didn't see any holes as to where it might go. Okay, it looks like there's like a little tiny firing pin area. And then these studs are just, I believe, to stick in and fill these holes up, I believe. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next piece. So, this is going to go sort of along this and be held in by this little metal piece right here. And I think it goes something along the lines of that. This is definitely only for aesthetics, not really for any other reason. And then this is going to go on the tip with this slotted hole kind of facing the outside of the actual piece. And it's going to go kind of just like that. It looks like they have it pressed all the way up against the very tip of this, just like that. And this goes right here, and they have a silver screw in this photo. Okay, so I'm thinking that this piece goes through here and gets slotted onto the other side like this, holding everything down. That is my best guess, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to go in there before this, which it doesn't feel like it, so it must go in after this. And then a piece is then assembled on the outside. Okay, so that is a almost perfect fit. And then this needs to go over the top, and sorry if my hands are blocking this, but this is kind of okay. And then this needs to be tightened down to fit that. There you go. All right. I think one of these screws, I think this thicker one is supposed to go right here, just for aesthetics. Doesn't seem like it really needs it. Okay, now I think unfortunately this this safety system is just completely well, it seems like it's not genuinely attached. It's just sort of attached. So these pins here look like they go here, and they go here, and this may be where the use of glue will come in handy. Oh, they kind of clip on. I'll have to glue that down though. It doesn't feel super sturdy. And then I think I have to glue this piece down too. It doesn't seem to have any like area where it can seemingly connect to this, which is where it's supposed to go. Oh yeah, see, that trigger already fell off. Okay, so we will glue that later. Okay, and then let's work on this other side, this flip side. So this is one of the more interesting looking areas, I think, just because of the complexity of everything over here, in terms of the different looking pieces and stuff. So they have this mounted like this. So that slots in through this area. Cool. And then this screws in the top. No, I think it screws in with this big one here. That's the same color, silver. I'm not exactly sure where this black piece is supposed to go. I can't seem to find it on the diagrams. So we'll look around on some of the other sides, and maybe on the top, and we'll see where all that is supposed to fit in. Okay, I actually missed something here. This is supposed to go into this little section right here, just like this. Man, these iPhones are actually really handy for this type of video, aren't they? That's awesome. And then this is supposed to have a bar that goes right across here, and I seemingly can't find the bar. All right, so we'll ignore that for a second, and we will work on the barrel. So, nice barrel. It looks relatively symmetrical, except for this side has these two little markings on this, and I think it's going to slide comfortably down in there. It seems pretty self-explanatory. I think this bigger hole is going to go. Actually, let's see if we can find what these two holes might be for. So I'm not sure if these are supposed to go on the top side like this, just for a little bit of interest, or if you're supposed to put this a little bit back and maybe, you know what, actually, I think I was wrong. I believe this is supposed to go through the back here for this to screw in on the back. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, so my camera ran out of memory, so while that's offloading to the computer, I'm going to take this chance to do some things that you need to do with this build anyways, which is gluing. I'm going to try to make sure that is as straight as possible. Actually, it looks pretty good. Okay, I'm happy with that. Then there's this piece, and this piece actually doesn't quite fit, so I'm going to grind this down just a tiny bit, and then so it'll fit. I'm just going to cut some of these little edges right here, and so it will fit in there, but it's probably going to have to be glued unless I hammer it in like this, which I could do, but I'd rather not. Now this seems to be a game of checking fitment every few passes with the sandpaper to see if it fits then, because I don't want to overdo it, because I'd like it to be as naturally tight as possible without glue. All right, so now I'm pretty sure my issue is not side to side here. It's the width of this thing. And I'm not sure, I think I'm gonna actually hammer this in. I think I'm gonna end up doing it. It seems like it's really close because it drops down in sort of the middle area, in the back area, but doesn't quite get down there on both sides. So I think I'm gonna take a couple passes at this with the hammer, and just light ones. Actually, it's pressing in a little bit by hand. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna hammer the top of that real lightly. Probably cover it with something a little softer than the metal of the hammer. About 3 or 4 passes with the hammer, and it's looking pretty good. It could go down a tiny bit further, but I'm not too particular on that, to be honest. I think that's perfectly fine. Okay, so we are back up and running. I did a couple gluing things. Now I think we're gonna go ahead and put this piece on this barrel here. Okay, so I'm gonna do something you're never supposed to do, which is stare down the barrel of this gun. All right, that looks pretty dang close to even with a little bit of a bias towards the left, which will actually help us when we really tighten this thing down. It'll turn a little bit right like it just did. Okay. And that is pretty straight. That is looking pretty good. All right, so there's still a few things to do. So one, we have to close up some holes back here on the hammer to kind of let it hit and actually strike something, even though it doesn't fire, but you know, immersion. And then we have to glue the back of this and then put on the rear sights, which looks pretty easy. So it looks like there's 4 holes on these sights here, like this, and 2 holes here, which I believe are these 2 smaller holes, which should be these 2 tiny pins. Okay, I had to quickly avert that glue run because it seems like this, this doesn't quite clear this left side here. So I think I'm gonna unscrew this a little bit, loosen this up. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. So back here, it doesn't, if I unscrew this and take this off, which now it doesn't want to go out. If I screw this in properly, like to about this level, this doesn't clear this right side here. You see how it's kind of brought up? Okay, all right, I can force it down. That's one way of doing it. Okay, I guess we'll just kind of clamp it down through, I guess, force. Now the picture is these 2 little holes which look like they are perfect spots for this, but these are what's supposed to go in there, but they're not screwed, so these will have to be glued as well. Lots of gluing. While we're gluing things, let's go ahead and glue this down right along the edge here. This will be kind of a pain if I need to fix anything, but should be okay. All right, I still should be able to pry that up if I absolutely have to. This, I believe, is going to go in the back here, behind the hammer. This ends up kind of being a perfect fit back there. So I think I'm going to glue that back there because I'm pretty sure that's where it's supposed to go, though there aren't super clear pictures. Okay, next up we have the bottom of the handle. So this goes like this. Notably, there are little lips on this and little lips on the inside of the handle for it to grab onto. Okay, so now that we know our rear sight assembly will work, we are going to loosen this, and then we're going to glue that portion back. Make this as level as possible. Give it a good dab there. Make sure that's not leaking. And then throw this on there, just like that. And maybe we'll try and kill 2 birds with 1 stone and tighten this up while that's doing that. Cool. That will actually help keep it locked in place. And I think I'm actually going to grip this time and tighten this down a little bit without marring the thing too much. I'm a little nervous about gluing this rear piece in here. It's unfortunately loose, but I'm nervous about it because if I ever need to take this apart, granted this mechanism with the barrel isn't very complicated and there's not really a reason to take it apart. Like, it doesn't involve any of the mechanics of this, but it still makes me nervous either way. So maybe what I'll do is a very small amount of glue right on the outside edge instead of on the inside. That way the hold isn't crazy strong. It's just strong enough to kind of keep it intact. And then hopefully that bonds with that and is enough to keep it in. And then I think we're gonna do a little bit on the bottom of this trigger. All right, and then this one I'm gonna have a fair bit of cleanup with the glue. So we're gonna use a Q-tip to clean that up. Now this piece would typically go right in here, but it doesn't, I don't have the bar for it. I can't find the bar anywhere, and I don't think I lost it. I think I've kept track of everything. Even though it looks scattered to you, it makes sense to my brain. So I'm not exactly sure what to do there. And I'm not exactly sure what this piece is now for, because it doesn't seem to go to anything else. Now then there's this little piece right here, which is supposed to go about right there according to the pictures. And I'm pretty sure this little moon-shaped item and this piece both need to be glued because there is a hole. Okay. All right. I figured out my mistake. Remember these two holes? I just figured out what they're for. Just figured it out. Although I still think that there is a slight piece missing. That is not going to come out easy, which means that we now have a problem. Okay, so this is why instructions are useful. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get this piece with the two slots, glue these two little items onto there. But that's going to go on the outside of this. And I'll explain that in a second. Now, this other piece is going to connect on the inside via this little tiny piece to the bottom of this barrel. There's a little tiny hole right underneath this, which will come out right about there. But now we just glued ourselves out of this. So now we have to glue ourselves, or unglue ourselves out of that. So I need to find a sacrificial piece of metal. Okay, so now I've spun it around so there is a hole here and the two slots on this side where these pieces will now go inside. So one there and one in there. And see that? Now they are a little loose, so I'm going to glue these also, but not too hard. Now the one thing that I am still missing, and I'm pretty sure this is just gone, I'm going to have to contact the guy, is there's a piece that's supposed to go from here all the way over to here, and a bar that's supposed to run in between these two pieces that I don't have. And I'm going to have to contact him about getting that. And then the other side is going to have this tiny little pin that you can see there, and then it's going to have this piece, and this pin will go inside that piece there. Just like that. I guess this will also have to be glued. I'll probably glue these three pieces, the barrel, this piece, and this pin all together. I'll just do a dab of glue there and stick it on the other side. Actually, what we can do in the meantime is we can build this, and this I am very excited for. This is probably the most, I don't know, this has Star Wars written all over it with the long slots. It's just, looks Star Warsy, looks very cool. Okay, so these are gonna slot in on the top just like this, and then these unscrew from the bottom, and then this is going to feed in from the bottom just like this. And then is this too big? Okay, so we're gonna have to use this smaller one. All right, there's one. Two is slightly shorter, but it does look like it's an ambidextrous design, so that's good. I don't think that's going to matter. And then go ahead and plop this in here, put this over here, and then spin this bad boy on. All right, that is looking good. Those are pretty well set, so we're gonna go ahead and try this because I can't resist. That looks freaking so badass. Oh yes. Okay, so the two places that those extra pieces are going to go, one is going to be right up here, right through this hole here, and the other one is going to be in this hole, though it doesn't seem to have this this little bar that needs to go in there. So I'm going to glue this just like that is about how it's supposed to look, according to the reference photos. And then stick this right there, position it, press it down, and that should be good to go. And then while that is drying, we will figure out if this is in the right spot or not. Okay, so there are a couple things that I'm having trouble getting exact finishing pieces on. So this is supposed to go right in here, but it doesn't fit. So the only way for me to do that is to either grind off material or to hammer it in. Personally, I think I'm gonna leave that for now and decide what to do with it later. This last screw needs to go right up here, but it doesn't have the bar for it. So once I get that bar, it'll be finished, but I'm gonna screw it in there for now, just to keep it all locked away. I'm going to have to sand the extra glue off this. I'm not sure what to do with this little piece yet. And then that is every piece accounted for. It's just a matter of going back through, and I think I'm going to retighten everything and make sure everything is succinct and nicely tightened. And then I think I will call it a day. Dudes, it's awesome. It is so cool. It's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. It does, actually false fire. No actual rounds or anything can go in here. Obviously, just want to disclose that it's not any type of projectile launching device. This is so sick. Now during the filming, I was gonna film some macro shots, but I started kind of setting it up. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, but now I'm gonna show you some beautiful shots of this thing. This thing looks crazy. Okay, so one thing that actually really surprised me on this build was the iPhone. I never, and I mean never, film on an iPhone, ever. But I think it was actually indispensable in this build just because it was so flexible and easy to move around, and the minimum focus distance is so close and the field of view is so wide while being minimal. So I could get it in some easy places that just made the filming of this a lot more easy for you to actually see what was going on. This was not a perfect build. I have a couple minor complaints about it. Obviously, the missing piece is kind of frustrating. 2, no instruction set. I know there's a whole set of builders who don't want to use instructions, and that's fine, but I think the option to use it would be nice to have. For example, the barrel thing, like, I guess once you get going, you kind of figure out like where pieces are going to go and what's going to be missing by the time you get to one area, and et cetera, et cetera. But when you're just starting out and you're starting to put pieces together with no instruction set on how things go and where things go, I had to go and backtrack a bunch of work to put the barrel in the proper orientation because there was no instructions to let me know. And the photos don't make it clear that the pieces on the outside go in those specific slots. But I got it all figured out. I think it looks beautiful. I love the action on it. I think the stand is honestly kind of just as cool as the replica itself. And yeah, Adam Savage, this is a great recommendation. Thank you so much. Tested, that channel is really awesome. And this video was kind of inspired by them. You can find the gun at, I think, Blaster Factory here. They didn't send this to me. I paid full price for this. I did notice that if you're going to do anything like cosplaying or anything like that, which I've never done, I don't plan to do it, but I do know that people do it. One thing to note is that there is a ton of grip area for gloves. So if you're going to wear a full suit with this fits my motorcycle gloves just fine. There's tons of room in the trigger area, and there's also a ton of handle grip. So if you have large hands with gloves on, you're going to be fine. Okay, if you like this very, very long episode, let me know in the comment section down below. And like I said, share the video if you like it if you like it, and subscribe if you loved it. All right, guys, I think that's it. Thanks a lot. Bye.